Good evening and welcome back to Bourbon and Boarding. We have another week of NHL hockey in the books, and we've got lots of clips to look at and lots of bourbon to drink. So this week I am joined again by little Chad sitting in for 70s, while 70s is attending to some family affairs. So how are you, little Chad?
I'm doing good. I think he's really just avoiding having to talk to you after the game against Dallas. So,
Why he it didn't go well for me.
yeah, but you don't want to rub it in. It's not good
Oh,
for your friendship. It's
uh
not good
huh.
to point out that the Avs lost. I mean, you guys did, I think playoff wins count more. So, there's that.
Yeah.
So,
Hey, there's
anyway.
Mike DiCarlo.
Oh, yeah. How's Toronto doing? Have they started collapsing yet?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're Toronto. They'll wait until the first round of the playoffs.
I
No, they're
was
actually sitting pretty right now on second in the Atlantic.
I just always view that as more sadness from Maple Leafs fans later, so that's fine for me.
Oh,
Again,
FKHC is, you know, Brian's catching strays right now. It's weird without Brian. It's better without him. I don't think you believe that. Although Copy Kitty did say that she would very much like you to be a permanent panelist too.
oh, Copied is the best. Happy birthday to Copied Kitty, by the way,
Yeah,
too,
it
because
was last night, and we I said it to her on Twitter, but I don't think we saw her in the chat, so
yeah, I
it never
think
came up.
Copied left a I think a comment on the catching the show on replay because I think it was the birthday, so they were doing that. So happy
Yeah,
birthday. That's good. I don't yeah, always a okay to catch things on replay if you're out like spending your birthday doing things.
yeah. Especially on nights when we do music trivia, you should always catch it. But that's been a little while now. We got to get back to that.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing a different kind of one, doing because I've been watching a lot of classic 80s and 90s commercials with my son. It's a fun thing to do on YouTube that's completely safe in
Guessing
terms
what
of
the ad is for, or
or
just
or
watching
guess
them.
or guessing what the price point of the thing that you're like, hey, here's a fully loaded luxury sedan. What do you think it cost in 1994? Yeah, that's right. Starting at
19,999.
it's like yeah, $22,000. I'm like, that is a $70,000 car now. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had gotten like a Honda Civic hatchback in, I think it was a 92. Had no air conditioner, only had AM, FM radio. Thing cost like $3 off the lot. Brand new. 3,000 bucks. That
Yeah,
was
I
it.
remember going to Capitals games at that time because they were the team closest to us when they were playing in US Airways Arena, which was right near where FedEx Field, well, formerly FedEx Field, where the Commanders play before they had their DC stadium. And the tickets, like for nice, decent seats, you were talking like in terms of viewing. I mean, there was no
Yeah.
real good seats at those time in those kinds in hockey arenas at that time. It was just, but in terms of seeing the game, you were paying like $20, you know,
Yeah.
face value if somebody didn't sell it cheaper because they didn't want because the caps weren't that great.
Well, my current season tickets, I think it's $24 a seat per game. It's not. It's really not that bad, but we're up
Yeah,
in
but
the
yeah, but
three
you're
hundreds.
upper bowl, right? you're
Yeah, but that's one of the things with hockey. Sometimes being up there, you actually see the plays develop a little bit more. I mean, I mean that's where the announcers are making all their calls from a center ice all the way up in the announcers box. In most arenas, it's at the very top.
I usually like on center ice, usually middle club level, I guess is what they would call it now, and those
Club
are
level is
expensive.
nice. Yeah, that's
But you can,
very expensive.
but it's a really great view of the ice, and you
Yeah,
especially if you get the side where where you see the benches too, where you
yeah.
can that's
Across from the benches so that you can see everybody on the benches or behind the benches.
there's a lot of sports that are better on television, like football is a much better experience watching on television than it
Yeah,
is watching live. But hockey, especially playoff hockey, going if you can get one of those like club level where you get that good view and you're seeing the ice it's an experience, and it's better, way better watching it than it is even because the
It's so
camera
much
can't.
faster than you
Yeah,
think.
the camera can't keep just doesn't translate to all the stuff going on, like because it's so focused on where, even it's weird to say it's focused on where the puck is,
Following the
but it's
puck, yeah.
especially in playoff hockey. There's so much going on, like down the blue line, on the other side of the ice with the defense setting up, doing all you catch it all, as opposed to waiting for the camera to like pan with the puck down to it.
Right.
So I
Well, and
highly
even just
recommend.
watching line changes is kind of more interesting in person.
Yeah,
It's just
so
amazing how chaotic it is. But yeah,
I would just highly recommend, if people have a chance, if they're near an NHL team and it's feasible to go. Not everybody has the luxury of having a team within driving distance to go see the games. It's
yeah.
just a fun time. And if your team is crappy, like if you're
Pick
if
a
you're
team coming in that is not.
no, what I'm saying, what's great is you can that means people with season tickets are usually just trying to dump it because they're not going to those games. You can
Yeah.
usually go on StubHub or wherever the ticket exchange service of choice is and pick up things for like 10, 15 bucks, because at that point the season ticket holders like, I'm not going to this game anyway, I'd rather just get something instead of nothing.
Oh, we do
And
that all the time with my
yeah,
tickets because I'm not driving to Denver 3 or 4 times a week and staying out till 2 o'clock because of traffic and everything else. So
so what I'm saying is, like, if your team's going to be playing the Predators or the Sharks or somebody like,
yeah,
and it's a weekday, a weeknight game against like Predators, Sharks, whoever, that look.
sharply discounted tickets.
Look at see, the weird part is they're like, it doesn't really work, and this is the odd thing to say, for someone like the Metropolitan Division. The Penguins, even though they have a bad record, they still travel and the tickets stay expensive because
Yeah,
they're a known quantity team. It's, like, look for the Blue Jackets. Even though the Penguins are right down there with them in the standings, they're not going to be the ones, where the people are discounting the tickets.
yep. Um, so for the other portion of how this show works, of course, we've got to figure out what I'm drinking because Chad's not going to be drinking anything. So,
I
uh,
am currently drinking sparkling ice, zero sugar, black cherry flavored water. So there you go.
yeah, that's almost drinking bourbon. So I am having one of the last pours out of the Eagle Rare. So still sticking with the Buffalo Trace Distillery because I keep finding it. So I'm going to keep buying it while I can find it and drinking it. We uh, we killed a bottle of Blanton's earlier in the week on Wednesday night, I think it was. So few of them are getting empty, but I've still got 4 or 5 Blantons back there. So not too worried about that. So how about we? Oh, and FKHC said we should just try to guess how many cigarettes I smoked during the show as part of the trivia.
So what I would be doing is, Brahma has a very prominent lighter noise. So I would probably just keep a sheet of paper and just do tick marks every time I hear that click, and
Now,
I'd probably be able to get pretty close.
if you watch the shows in 2 times speed, usually my hand is like this, like nonstop throughout the whole thing, like comics divisions shows and stuff, because I don't have to talk near as much there, or don't get to talk near as much there. So on this one, well, on his shows when we used to do 2 or 3 hours, it would be about a pack for a single stream. This
Nice.
show, I usually keep it down to 8 to 10, I think. I don't know. But let's check in on the standings, see what's going on. Well, actually, we'll check the scoreboard first and see what is going on with the current games because there are a lot of games today. Like,
I know. The Rangers got out with a win, which is nice.
yep,
Held
for you
on.
and my daughter.
Yep.
All
Because
right,
I think,
so
yeah,
oh,
this
go
is
ahead.
important. This is, as a Rangers fan, this is important. We're at that, like, slightly above 500 level, you got to kind of commit or not. Or I don't think they're at the blow it up phase. I think we've probably got about two more weeks. When's the trade deadline? It's not
Oh, the trade
till
deadline's in a while.
yeah. So I mean,
It's
there
isn't it like March?
yeah. So there's plenty of time where the Rangers have it to turn around before like there's already because New York fans and New York media is always just hyped out of control. Like we're as soon as things aren't going well, it's like, well, we got to move all these pieces. We could people want to make deals. We'll just do all this. It's it's a little early yet. This isn't like the New York Jets situation where you got to blow up that whole team. This is they're actually a plus win loss record. They're plus, so we're still fine. We can put this together, and it's not like the Rangers won the President's Cup and still got bounced in the playoffs. So you can win in the playoffs without being the number one seed. So
Yeah.
they should
Be more
calm
worried
down.
about teams like Boston.
Boston is just I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
How quick did they get like we're gonna fire him? Like, well, let's pick him up. Like
Montgomery. Yeah.
yeah.
St. Louis was like, okay, well, our guy's gone too. Or was that Nashville? Which one picked him up? It was St. Louis, wasn't it?
I think it was St. Louis. Let me
Yeah.
double check. But I know both of them are going to be better. Like with either one getting him, what it makes the team a better team. He's not a bad coach.
He'd only had 40 losses as the coach of Boston. Like 42, I think it was. But what we got going on right now is my Avalanche are in a tie game 1-1 with the Oilers in the second period. Utah is just beating the living crap out of the Golden Knights right now. Still in the second period and up 6-0. The Sharks are taking on the Kraken and up by 3 goals there, also in the second. And then we've got all the games from earlier. So we had the Rangers win. We had the Panthers smash the Canes. The Maple Leafs beat the Lightning. The Blues lost to the Flyers. Penguins actually won a game 6-2 against the Flames. Capitals and Devils, big high scoring game there with 11 goals, but the Capitals took that one.
Luckily, their own goalie didn't try to, give a game away.
Yeah. We'll take a look at that play from earlier in the week. The Kings 5-2 over the Senators. Islanders 3-0 getting the shutout there. The Wild 3-2 over the Preds in overtime.
How long did the Islanders stick with Wall?
I don't know. I mean, last time Waugh was the one who walked out, and then it cost him a few years coaching in the NHL. So I don't know. I would say the experiment runs at least 3 seasons. I mean, I don't know that they're going to get anything better at the moment.
I
And Waugh
mean,
did win a lot in the lower leagues.
yeah, but they're 9-10, and um, they're not. I don't. They're not. They're not playing better than when Wall, before Wall. I
No,
mean, I don't think they're playing any better. Do you see any indication that their team is better being coached by if anything, Wall has just brought more
attention.
Wawness. Like
Yeah,
he brings like he gets eyes on you because Waugh says and
you're
does
waiting for him
things
to do something crazy
that are
next.
crazy. Like but he I don't know that he doesn't seem like he's developing the players to be better than what they were before.
Yeah, but there's quite a bit of young talent on that team too. Plus, they had a few key pieces that were missing through injury for a little bit there, didn't they? I'm trying to remember who had been out, but and they're also playing. I think they've still got Varlamov in goal. He's getting a little bit long in the tooth. So, and there's some things that now that they've got Waugh in place, maybe he has a little bit of say so going into the following season after the draft and free agency and some trade deadline stuff.
He came
Because
in
they did
about
get better from last year just by
he came in a little before the halfway part last year, right? When he got promoted. When he got
um I think it was closer to the 75% mark of the season
uh,
was over. I think. I'm not sure.
Hockey is such a long season; it's hard to remember exactly when things happen sometimes.
Yeah, it is. That is part of the issue there. So
Yeah, but yeah, I can see. All right, so he came in, let's say roughly 60-70% in last year. So that's like, I mean, that's not even a full season. So they'll give him this season, and I think he'll get at least a quarter of the way next season. If there's not improvement, I think he gets yanked. So I guess that would hit your 3 season kind of
kind of, sort
scenario.
of. Yeah. But let's take a look at the standings and see where everybody is at. So we already mentioned the Maple Leafs sitting up there in second place in the Atlantic. Florida's still sitting on top, 31 points. Tight division right now,
Such a
five,
weird.
six points.
I say it every time on Bourbon Boarding, but like a like Toronto hockey team being sandwiched between two Florida teams in the upper.
It's
It
so
just
true.
seems it's so wrong.
And the two Florida teams have been two of the best for the past decade.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers play basically down in Miami, like right adjacent to Miami. I don't think it's physically possible for ice to exist at any point in the year naturally
Likely,
where they play.
but they've done pretty well down there.
I mean, technically, maybe Tampa. Well, no, Tampa's probably not going to be putting any kind of stuff. I was like, at least Carolina might get ice sometimes.
Might. But there's a lot of places that teams are playing where, I mean, well, you got rid of Arizona now. So, but
Yeah, although Salt Lake City, I don't. The weird Utah's a weird state for reasons we could talk
for
about
any
tomorrow
sports,
on our
yeah,
other show because I don't trust. I don't like where Utah's going, but they
true enough.
yeah, for sports, like what do they got? They have the Jazz.
Yeah,
They
the
have
Jazz and the Utah Hockey Club. They
and they
probably have
don't
a
have
soccer team, I would guess, but
yeah
I
they
don't
don't
know.
no football team yet,
No, no football
and
team.
they got the Olympics coming back in a few years, so that'll be. I
Yeah,
think they're
Trump.
hosting another Winter Olympics soon.
Yep, Trump is going to preside over a U.S. based Olympics. That's going to be crazy. And the what is it? The 250-year celebration.
Oh yeah, that one's gonna be yeah. He's already
That's going to
doing
be a World's Fair.
he's gonna do a full year long party up in. I think he wanted to do in Iowa. I might have to take a trip. Might take my son to see that one, but I don't know if it's gonna bring Iowa. I mean, it's cold enough, but I don't know if they could support a hockey team. It's a lot of places like that.
Yeah, the population's just too sparse, I would think. But
See, but you say that, but then like Oklahoma City supports a basketball team really solidly. They have actually one of the better attendance records because if
yeah,
they're the only, that's one of the
it's
arguments
one
you
of the
could make.
things that
You're the only game in town, so everybody will go to it.
yeah, that's one of the things I'm most ashamed about being born in Oklahoma is that they love their NBA team because I hate the NBA so much.
Well, I mean, when they stole it from Seattle, they felt like hey, we've got to support them.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't. I mean, did Seattle get a new team in basketball? I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
I know they finally got a new hockey team. They got the expansion. They got the Kraken,
Yeah.
which why is it all right? So the Golden Knights got the best deal ever when they got expanded. They got everybody and instantly became good. Did the NHL just not want to do that for the other expansion teams?
No, they
Like,
had to change the rules because the GMs were screwing around during that expansion draft for Vegas. They were offering players that they would normally have been offering in exchange for you won't you won't choose these guys. That way they didn't have to make the exposure list the true list. So they were making side deals and that's not happening anymore. So you're not going to see the new expansion teams have the same situation.
all right. So, and have they already announced where they're expanding again? Because I know that they've been.
No, there's a few places that they're looking at. They're looking at, I believe, Atlanta again. They're looking at Quebec again. There's a few different places, and of course, Arizona still has first rights to a brand new team. I think if they can get the arena done, because Utah has no connection now to the Coyotes.
They pulled the
It's a
Browns
full
deal.
reset. Yeah, full reset. No connection to the prior Coyotes franchise. So none of the alumni stuff. So every single time somebody scores for
It's
Utah, whoever's got the leading score is the franchise leader in history.
so that
So
happened because I was close enough where because the AFC was on CBS and the NFC was on Fox. So the
mhm,
Ravens in the Washington D.C. media market would always be the AFC game because even though they were a little further out, it was still cover a lot of the people who would were quote
still in
unquote
blackout
Ravens fans.
territory. Yeah,
So every time that first year, because that was the thing the NFL did when Modell pulled the Browns out of Cleveland and brought them to
to
Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yep,
Yeah, the NFL said you're leaving everything when it comes to stats, records, history is all staying with Cleveland, and we're awarding a Browns team again within a couple years.
right.
And so it was every that first season with the Ravens, every time like the running back was like, and that's a new rushing record for the
Right.
Baltimore
Yeah.
Ravens. He's now
That's exactly what's going on.
he's the franchise leader in rushing.
The Utah's goalie is the winningest goalie in franchise history.
Yep.
And
Oh,
so yeah, same kind of situation. But
it looks like we got a question coming in from Late Night with Cap podcast about thoughts on the Stars.
well, with Brian not here, I can say the Stars suck. But no, they're right where they're supposed to be. Hanging right there with the Avs, the Wild, and the Jets. The top two there are still kind of weird, but
Do you?
the
Yeah,
Jets are starting to come back a little bit.
I was gonna
After
say I think the Jets got a little ahead of their skates.
yeah,
They're playing beyond the actual quality of the team. I
yep,
would expect them over because again, it's a long NHL is a long season. I
yeah,
would
we're at the
think,
quarter, a little bit past the quarter way mark in the season.
and teams like that, tend to fade pretty strongly in the back half. Like they'll get out, especially I don't trust them to. If I had to guess, I think they definitely solidly make the playoffs on an upper half seed, but I think they move down to like 3 or 4.
Yeah, that seems about right. But if they keep going with this goal differential being that positive for them, they're going to win a lot more games. Plus 33 is a pretty good place to be sitting.
But
So they're
it's
not
like,
allowing goals and they're scoring plenty.
but it's like it's not a sustainable number, right? Like, what if you
That
watch
depends on
hockey?
Connor Hellebuck a little bit. I mean, he
But
is the
no,
best goalie in hockey.
but
So if
in the
he's
modern
backstopping,
NHL, but in the modern NHL, no goalie holds up like that over a whole season.
he did pretty good last year, right up until the first round of the playoffs where he got scored on 5 goals or more in 4 straight games. Never happened in history after winning the Vezina. It's crazy. But no, I don't think they'll stick up there that high above everybody else. Kind of like, I mean, last year we didn't think Vancouver was going to be able to pull off sticking where they were, and they started to come back to earth at the end.
I
So
mean, what I do appreciate is that looking right now at the standings, the Blackhawks are almost the worst team in the league. Almost.
yeah,
Not quite.
almost.
They're
They've
like
got
one
18
game.
points. The Sharks and the Ducks are right there. The Predators are right down there. Actually,
They
yeah,
are.
they
They're
are
like
at this point
yeah.
now. After today, the Canadiens have pulled it off. They've gotten a 1 point lead on the
They got they
Blackhawks.
pulled off 1 point. So for for all you Bedard lovers there,
He finally broke
congratulations.
his 14 game goalless streak earlier this week.
Yep.
So yep.
he's
So
he's
the Nashville thing still surprises me. They are so bad for what they picked up during the free agency period. It's crazy. The Avs, I wish they were doing better. I wish we had goalies. But we did make a trade early this morning. We got Wedgwood from Nashville in return for our current backup, Eustace Ananen. My daughter is, been crying her eyes out all day because she was a huge Onanen fan. Not sure why,
I
but
mean, was he
it
doing
doesn't
a lot
address the
to?
Georgiev situation.
I mean, was Ananen as the backup the answer? No, he
No,
doesn't.
but I don't think so. Wedgwood is what, 9 years older than Onanen and cost more by about 400,000 a year. So all we did was add salary cap for a goalie who has almost the exact same numbers as Onanen and is 9 years older. So I'm not sure, other than like one of those change of scenery type situations where, we'll see if they can work out a little bit better. We're in a new club, new people, just fresh start. I don't know that it really does anything unless it was to try to work another deal later. I mean, that's a possibility. We actually had like 2 or 3 trades in the NHL today. It was a weird. I think it was all right. We're not going to trade him before Thanksgiving. Now that the holiday's over, let's let's get a deal done. Because most of the GMs won't do things over the holiday period, like the exact holiday, not the whole period of Thanksgiving to Christmas, but they've got some weird unspoken, unwritten rules.
So yeah, so here's it. We're about a quarter way in. Teams are starting to shake out and separate. So you're not going to get no people aren't going to be selling from a playoff spot.
No,
So if you're the Avs, what can you do to help your goaltending situation? You really don't have many options
no. I
out
mean,
of that.
you're not going to get a number one without like, the crazy proposed trade of Mikko Rantanen for Shesterkin. I don't know that it really benefits either team in the way that they need, because you guys still need Shesterkin. We could use a number one. I mean, we would love to keep Rantanen, but I don't see where that is a smart trade for either team. But it's crap like that that's getting floated out there because a number one goalie is hard to come by at this point, and you're definitely not going to get him in the trade market without giving up something huge and probably retaining some salary on both ends.
It's the yeah. I mean, the only reason I guess the Rangers would it's the 13 million. Yeah, like it's the contract, right? The alleged ask that he wants
Yeah,
is 13 million per year. That's a lot. Like
yeah.
and um
I mean, that's up there with Nathan McKinnon money, Connor McDavid money, because I think McKinnon's making 12.5 million.
yeah, and it's that's a bunch of your cap. You know I'm just pulling it
Yeah,
up.
but the rumor is also that the cap could be lifted as much as 9 million next year. Although Bettman has come out and said, no, that's not necessarily true. That is what is being reported by the number crunchers, that it could go up as much as 9 million, which that frees up a lot of space for a lot of teams to start actually making moves again. Because the salary cap's been tight for a while. They've only been raising it like $1 to $2 million a year, stuff like that. So
Well, it's because as much as we love hockey, it doesn't make the money. It doesn't generate the revenue other sports do.
no, it doesn't. Hockey's the sport that is most in trouble at the moment.
I mean, you're thinking like right now the cap is 88 million. I think I'm looking and
It's
they're
either
talking.
88 or 92. I think it was 88 last year and maybe 92 this year. But I don't know, when we lost the cap space website because the Washington Capitals bought it, I don't have the typical information that I used to have.
All right, I'm looking at an article on Shesterkin now. 88 is the current cap, and people think the next year that it could go up to as high as 95, which would be that $7-8 million increase
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
9 million would be the highest, I think. So,
And how many there's
but
time?
we've got players resetting the market left and right. So that's going to get chewed up real fast. Because
So
I mean, the goalies just reset the market on goalies, but they also prove that they're probably not worth that money.
yeah, for like Shosturkin wants 14% of whatever the cap is going to be. I get it's funny when your agents are like, I don't know what it's going to be, but we want at least 14% of it. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, all right. It's good that you feel like you're worth 14% as one player of the entire salary cap of the team, which is it's like in football when a quarterback is usually getting 20 plus percent on their own of the salary cap for a 53
right.
man roster.
And then they've got no linemen, no offensive
Yeah.
linemen, so they can't do anything because they're just getting sacked left and right.
Yeah. So
Well, it's like Edmonton paying Drysaitel and McDavid all the money that they pay them, and they're not that deep behind those top two lines.
I see a comment for Keely Chat like there was a time when some MLB players were asking for 13 million a year. Yeah, that was in the 90s. They're getting 25 to 30 now. So
Yeah,
the
you've got
major
250 million, 300 million deals.
like I mean Shohei Otani got I mean, what was it, $750 million contract?
Yeah, you're getting close to getting paid $1 billion over what, a 10 to 12 year period.
So baseball, I like baseball system because they don't necessarily have a salary cap, but they have a luxury tax
Luxury
instead.
tax. Yeah.
What baseball gets wrong is that they have no minimum, which is the
Yeah.
down. You have to have a salary minimum. You have to make sure teams spend a minimum amount of money on your team. Like, because when you do it the way baseball does it, you have teams that will basically, like Tampa, and you're like, oh, but they're competitive because their ownership spends they get luxury tax money and they get revenue sharing, so they basically are only spending 70% of the guaranteed money they're getting from TV and luxury tax, and so they're guaranteed profit every year, but they're not being competitive. Like once they have good players who hit free agency, they leave. They're not staying, they're not retaining talent. In
Yeah.
hockey, I think every team
Hockey,
has
there
to.
is a minimum cap
Yes.
or a minimum spending floor. You have to
So
be above that.
yeah, hockey does make sure that that's why hockey teams tend to be more competitive quicker. You can see teams turn around faster in hockey because they're retaining, and aside from some slight advantages where a team like the Rangers are going to be able to offer Shesterkin more years than other teams are allowed to. They can give him a longer term deal to retain him. That's in I think that's
Just
part of the
because of
rules.
that market. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, if you're a restricted free agent.
yeah, so they can offer more years. I mean, there's ways to do it. In the NBA, they have max deal rules where it's called it's the Larry Bird rule. It's if you're re-signing your own free agent, you can offer beyond what other teams are allowed to. It's so that you can retain your stars. Like it doesn't count against your cap the same way it would other teams because the NBA wants you to be able to keep stars in the cities that they are supporting.
Well, and hockey does it where if a team gives a player an offer sheet, the current team is allowed to match or beat that offer. So, yeah, the current team that has the rights to the player is able to match or better the offer that comes into a restrict. Is it? Yeah, restricted free agents. Unrestricted, you're just out on the market. You can do whatever you want. So they have the two types of free agency in the NHL, and then you've got all the stuff like no trade clauses and all that crap. So
I mean, I will say
there's a bunch
that
of pieces to it.
the one thing I'll also point out, I mean, Shesterkin got the team's not doing, they're in a medium place, but Shesterkin needs to play better. If he wants to justify 14% of the cap, you better be putting together a great season. You better be like, um, you better be lights out on your goals against average.
Well, there's that, and you better be playing a large bulk of the games because hockey goalies don't play the amount of games. It's kind of like pitchers. in baseball. Hockey goalies don't play the same amount of games that they used to play. I mean, it used to be you didn't get a night where, the backup spelled you, once every 2 or 3 games. It's you played the majority of the games. If you went down, that's when the backup actually played.
I mean, yeah, because looking at this season right now, he's got a 2.93 goals against average. Oh, that's not terrible. Well, his career goals against average is like 2.4. So, like a half goal increase in your goals against is a wrong trend line. Like
Yeah.
if you're going in and you're gonna demand that money, you got to be standing on your head blocking those shots. You better, like, because how many times have you seen it in sports where the team, somebody leaves for a big free agent deal and then they just shit the bed, and
Yeah.
then you're stuck with that deal, and that deal starts looking worse and worse
Well, look at
every
the Swayman and
time.
Olmark stuff. I mean, that they're the ones who reset the goalie market. One of them left, the other one stayed, but then demand said he would not play unless he got an increase, and they reset the market on what the goalies are worth. And that's where Shesterkin thinks that he can ask for that. We did get 5 gifted memberships from Eric K. Thank you very much, sir. Looks like those went to GJJ, Tina Guzman, Novella Princess, Zax, and Lisa. And at the end of the show tonight, we'll be sending you guys over to Zax with a redirect. Little bit different show from this, but he's a good dude. So, should we start some clips?
Yeah, let's start some clips. I mean, I would love for you to start with the Caps one because that's my favorite of the week.
Let me find that one real quick then.
Because I mean, in sports, it's always funny because what I love about sports is as long as these things have been played, and most professional North American sports have over 100 years of history now, you'll still see stuff that you hadn't seen.
Right.
And
Some weird stuff.
weird stuff can still happen. You can see stuff that surprises you. You can see stuff that's like, I would have never put money on this happening ever in a game I was watching, and then you see it.
Yeah. So Vasilevsky almost got credit for this. It ended up going to Braden Point, for his hat trick. So he scored a hat trick off of this. Lindgren just shovels that directly into his own net.
Is it on screen? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, did it not transition? Let me
mean,
fix that. Yeah, it didn't transition. So Vasilevsky passes it around the boards. It pops out. Lindgren comes out to play it, whiffs, and then backhands it directly into the goal.
and I swear, like, and it's just yoink.
Yeah.
He just like he just shanked it like when I'm at a driving range and I pull out the driver and it just like goes completely opposite direction of what I intended.
Hopefully you're seeing it now, Nick. Yeah, it just didn't transition earlier. But so not only does that get Braden Point a hat trick, that was just one touch from being a goalie scoring a goalie goal by the other goalie putting the goal or the puck in the goal. Because if Braden Point hadn't touched this puck and it had only been touched by the Washington players, Vasilevsky would have gotten the credit for this goal because it's the last person to touch it.
Yep, like, and that could have 100% happened because if you watch hockey, there's a lot of times you reset your offense for a line change by working the puck all the way back to your netminder, to your goalie, and he then sets it up to go back forward on the attack.
Yep.
So it could have easily been that because the setup looked completely normal, just completely natural about just going back, working the puck back, and then he's just going to clear it around after the and nope, goal.
Yeah.
And that was a tie game, and not anymore.
Nope. And this one is another kind of odd play. It's a shot block that turns into an assist. So keep an eye on this. Goes down, blocks the shot off of his feet, goes all the way up in the air. and Tage buries it.
Yeah.
Or Suter buried it.
It almost looked like an alley-oop.
Yeah, Garland literally kicks it up a perfect floater for him to just take at speed.
If he had done that with his hand, it wouldn't have counted.
Would have been a hand pass.
Yeah, it would have been a hand pass. Because like that happening, it's because that is like if throwing a puck over a guy's head to for your guy to hit it at speed is a perfect breakaway play.
Yeah, like a saucer pass. Yeah, not the easiest thing to do.
Which is why it's illegal for doing it with your hand, like you're doing it. I was like, but you're right. But if you go down for the shot block, it just happened, and I mean, it's like, and I'm sure some after the game, it's like, yeah, we coached that, we practice it.
Yeah, take it off your skate blade. This one, there was a lot of Paul Bissonnette news this week, but this one was just a compilation of some crazy Paul Bissonnette talk during the intermissions. I don't know if everybody heard about him getting into a fight at a restaurant where he ended up taking on 6 guys that were, causing an issue at the restaurant, and he tried to calm it down and ended up going to the hospital, I think, just to get checked, just to make sure, probably for liability purposes. But yeah, 6 guys jumped Bissonnette at a restaurant in Arizona. But that is not what this is. This is Bissonnette just being weird as usual.
No reason for anyone at home to clip that off and make something hysterical out of it. I would also say that he said dumps with a purpose.
Yes.
You dump.
You have to do the.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have to do that at all.
They don't pay him enough for that.
Now, what's your thing you hate?
You got to dump with a purpose. You got to dump with a purpose.
Exactly.
And then you got to go.
No, you don't. You don't have to do that.
Well,
I mean,
You got to put it in a place where you get it back.
Getting your greens.
You want to get it back.
it feels like a good time to go to the game.
Phil, get it in there.
That's it right now.
Imagine saying that to the great one. And then making the sound effect. Biz is crazy, but he makes things fun. I think we can go with one more thing that you've probably never seen before. This is kind of just how the Avalanche season is going. This was during a game that the Avalanche were just getting absolutely crushed, and there was a little bit of frustration. Watch as Jared Bednar, the coach, is walking into the hallway.
All you want to do with that first period is just
Miles Wood breaks his stick, and it rebounds into the coach's face. He probably got yelled at quite a bit after this game because it goes straight into his nose.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good look.
No, you don't see that very often. But I think we almost saw it in another game earlier tonight. I don't know that I grabbed the video of it, though. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because somebody almost, they broke their stick on the goal, and it popped right back into their own face. I'm not seeing it. But what we do have...
Tis merely a flesh wound.
Yeah. What we do have is a gigantic Matt Rimpe hit for the 30 seconds that he played this week.
And the Blues leading 4-2 in a hard-hitting affair in the Big Apple.
His potential is that he's 8 feet tall on the ice, and you can't coach that. So,
right.
If they can just coach the rest.
But they keep sending him down because he keeps making stupid mistakes. Not necessarily in the gameplay, but in the way he's hitting people. I mean, we saw the one last week. We may not have shown it, but the one where he just decided to run into somebody right in front of the bench for no reason, completely interference, basically ejections. You can't stick in the lineup if all he's going to do is goon. I mean, it's great to have a goon, but the goon has to be worth having on the ice. and
I
he's playing
doubt-
like what
yeah.
2 minutes.
I doubt that I don't think he could ever reach this kind of potential. But if I was the Rangers, I'd be like reaching out to like Chara. It's like, can you come in here and just work with this guy and teach him how to be tall on the ice? Because Chara, Hall of Fame player.
Yeah. And he controlled himself though.
Exactly. Because when you're that tall, like number one, 9 out of 10 times you can be called for high sticking just because if you use your stick the way every other player does, it's going to be high sticking.
Yeah.
Because of just the height differential. So you have to learn to play different. You have to learn to play to adjust your height on the ice and then use your height to your advantage. Chara was one of the best guys I ever saw do that as like one of those giants on the ice.
Yeah, well, and he also was never actually trying to hurt anybody. I think Rimpe sometimes is out there trying to hurt some people. But
Keeley, to answer Keeley's comment, yes, especially in the World Series, he was hitting better than they did in the World Series. Or, I guess I should, if I'm being honest, it was more our relief pitching that just fell apart. Shohei Ohtani paid off that first year. That contract paid, he gets his World Series win. I'm sure he put some bets down on it, maybe did a parlay. Who knows?
Yeah. Since you were mentioning high sticking, we should take a look at this from last night. Brian, that 70s rock fan, should be ashamed of his team for this one because they got a free 2 minutes for nothing. Keep an eye on where the stick actually is.
Did make contact.
It never touched him.
It's a phantom. Hey, y'all.
Yeah,
phantom
he
guy.
acted his way into a high stick call. Meanwhile, you've got, and that's against the Avs, who Makar famously has called off penalties and said, "No, don't blow the whistle. He didn't actually trip me."
Yeah,
and then you've got Marchman sitting there pretending that a stick hit his face. That's not typically what you see from hockey players.
There is no advantage to like being respectful about those kinds of things. Like you got to get a little bit of a killer mentality. Like I get it.
No, I get it, but a completely phantom call, let's not turn into soccer either.
No, I'm saying for the Avs, like you needs to, like, if you get that tripping call, you just say, okay, let's go on the power play. If you're not going out of your, like, he acted.
He was an honest rookie at that time.
Yeah. What the NHL should be doing, since they're so keen to have the New York offices or Toronto offices call down to make decisions during games, is they should have made a phone call down or buzzed down to the refs on ice and waved this off. Because
wave it off or give him the embellishment call immediately. Because I hate the embellishment call either way.
Yeah.
Because how do you embellish something that did happen? But this didn't happen. So at least make it right by taking both to the box. If you're going to say that the first call has to stick, give him the embellishment call.
Yep.
I just think it's crap that Marchman pulled that one. And there were a lot of people that were not happy about this morning across the hockey world. Because it's so freaking obvious.
But that's what, if the NHL is going to do the things where they actually this is true, and this is true across a lot of the professional sports where they've started doing
review fines or penalties.
No, where they are doing it during the game, like where they are actually having a control room somewhere off-site reviewing replays and buzzing down to referees. Like the NFL does it.
Yeah, the NHL does it too for certain things.
And the NHL does it especially when it comes to goals. How often have we seen like the call came down from whatever to wave the goal off? So.
Well, on goals, I think it's an automatic review for certain things, and then it has to be a coach calling for other things, like what is it, offsides, that has to be a coach's challenge. Interference, I'm not sure who ends up challenging or if it's just a call down. There's something about certain times in the game when it becomes automatic, kind of like the old NFL, the 2 minute,
Yeah, within
everything gets reviewed.
Yeah, within 2 minutes, it's booth reviews.
I think the booth review only happens in the NHL on goals to confirm that it was a goal, that the puck crossed the line. All the other stuff is coaches have to catch it and challenge it, like offsides or goaltender interference. By the way, Edmonton just scored again. They are up 3-1 now with 16 in the third against the Avs. But what I would like to see is in an instance like this, maybe the NHL, comes down and says, yeah, that's a $10,000 fine for the embellishment because it didn't get called during the game, but it's obvious and it makes our sport look bad.
I would even. This is the kind of thing where this might be considered overreaction. I would suspend them a game.
Yeah, they're so weird about their number of game suspensions for different things that it's hard to say what is actually a fair suspension.
See,
I mean, even if it's one game, you've got situations where people have damn near taken off other guys' heads and they only get one game.
Yeah,
so they've just got to get the player safety, corrected. Get something that's out there that says this is what this goes. This is how many games you go for this.
I would say, yeah, you should announce that anything that if you do something that how should I put it, impacts the integrity of the game, that's like a 1 to 2 game suspension, depending on how you want to phrase it. I would think 1 game.
The points are so precious in the NHL. You can't let stuff like this, which it's a free power play, and I'm pretty sure they scored on it. But
I mean, you want to know, and here's why it's really going to change. Let's be honest; they're all in bed with gambling now.
I know.
And this kind of shit, power plays, getting called power plays, parlays on power, like on goals
over under on shots, shots per player. You're going to get more shots when you're on a power play, typically. I mean, as a player and as a team.
And the reason why I bring it up and nobody wants to talk about it. We always talk about the players, but there was a famous referee for the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA, yeah.
Who was fired and put in jail because he was rigging games for the mob because he owed so much money to bookies.
Yeah.
And we like to pretend that suddenly would go away now that we've made gambling so ubiquitous that it's a $1 trillion industry almost in the United States.
See, the thing with last night is I was on a different show. It's called Ascendant Art. So I wasn't able to actually keep an eye on the game all the way through, like to see details. I'm curious whether the Avs actually, took any on ice payback for the bad call. Like if they policed it a little bit, but at that point, I don't think the score was in favor of being able to, throw out the fourth line and lay some people out. Or they may not have known that it was a phantom call. I mean, the only person who could say it is Taves saying my stick didn't touch him. But I don't know. Yes, Keeley, we remember the Pete Rose stuff and the Black Sox.
Well, I don't remember the Black Sox.
Well, not remember it, but
yeah,
we know of it.
So Pete Rose, yeah. So I was arguing with friends for this entire season that based on what the Major League Baseball did with Ohtani, they should immediately allow Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame.
Well, and based on the sport basically being sponsored by gambling sites at this point, it's ridiculous to keep somebody out for life because of that.
The idea for Pete Rose is that the cardinal sin of baseball, there's a sign in every baseball locker room, and it's there to this day, that gambling on baseball, even if it's not your just gambling on baseball, is lifetime ban. And what's funny is that was never actually even supposed. The owners didn't even want that after the Black Sox scandal. Comiskey, who was the owner back then, they brought in Kennesaw Landis as the first Major League Baseball commissioner with independent powers to oversee it, to basically rubber stamp that they were going to suspend these guys for like a season and then get them back.
Right.
And he gave them lifetime bans. And they were like, "Oh shit, we can't." And it was
Shoeless
such a,
Joe and the
yeah,
rest of the boys.
yeah, and it's debatable whether how deep and like some of those guys were in, but they all were at least took the money. So it's Pete Rose, on the other hand, he's kind of like, he was a scumbag kind of guy. No, Pete Rose was definitely off the field, not a good guy. There's a lot you could say that you don't like about Pete Rose, but this is not the Hall of Character. It's the
Right.
Hall of Fame. There's a lot of people with bad character who play. I mean, I'm a Giants fan. Lawrence Taylor did a lot of bad things off the field. Yeah. But he was probably the best linebacker of that generation for the 80s and into the 90s. He's a Hall
Yep.
of Famer because of it. There's a lot of really great guys winning Walter Payton Man of the Year awards who are not going to be a Hall of Famers. So,
Yeah.
it doesn't. Those two things are mutually exclusive. Pete Rose bet on, and the only thing we definitively know, because
And
there's
while
a lot
he
of
was a
other
manager,
allegations, it was after he was a player. While he was a manager, he bet on other games that he was not involved in, and that's the only thing that was proven. All
and the
the
only
other
thing he admitted to.
there's other people who always want to conjecture that he bet on his own team or was doing. There's never been any evidence from anybody about that, which also doesn't change the fact that he was going to go into the Hall of Fame for his play as a player.
Yeah, as a player. Which they separate management careers and player careers all the time.
As a point in fact, in the NFL Hall of Fame, O.J. Simpson still there.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about somebody who did some things off the field,
probably
did some things. Yeah, just like O.J. Simpson's bronze bust still in the NFL Hall of Fame. So,
right.
Yeah. So hockey needs to, I mean, all the leagues do. This is going to be a big problem. Like, I know Major League Baseball's already banned a couple players for gambling. I think hockey had some guys that were getting in trouble for it. I know basketball had some guys getting in trouble for it. I mean, NHL has a team in Vegas, so people are going to Vegas. But the thing is that now,
and the NFL, everybody thinks everything's rigged already.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Jesus, good luck playing the Chiefs and the guys playing for the Chiefs in the striped shirts.
Right.
So, and so you've got to really go above and beyond for integrity of the game, kind of stuff at this point. I would say transparency. I mean, does the NHL have full-time referees? I know some leagues still, they're like part-time.
No, I'm pretty sure they're all full-time. Wes McCauley and a few others have been doing it for decades.
The NFL didn't have full-time referees. They weren't full-time till like 6-7 years ago. Like they would, I know it came up with who was Ed Hockley? The one ref we all know and remember, would work like at a car dealership in the off season, so like because he needed to have a job during the off season.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the refs. I mean, the fact that they have to travel so much during the season and the season is so long, it'd be hard not to, because I mean, it's a long season. And if you're reffing into the playoffs, I mean, you're going another 2 months.
What I would say with the refs, and this is true for all the leagues, you've got guys being paid millions of dollars as athletes out there. Your team and your league integrity is only as good as the weakest link. And if you've got guys who are referees making maybe $100,000 a year,
yeah,
and you're not taking,
it's going to be pretty tempting to them to do some rigging.
Yeah. You've got to, like, I would want guys to basically, if you're going to be a referee, you need to be credit checked, bank checked. Like, I would want to see all the transaction. I mean, it's weird to say that kind of stuff, but you're like, if you're letting these guys, because you see some of these refs have made some stupid calls that make no sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, playoffs last year with goals getting waved off and goals being allowed, like, what when goalie interference not be like being called and then not being called. Like, remember, I think I was on the show when we were talking about how crazy some of those calls were for that stuff, and it was like the only way that's actually makes logical sense for that call was if the ref was being paid off and making that call,
Yeah.
because it was so wrong. So you've got to, like,
Calls that everybody agreed were like, what was that?
And now that you're promoting gambling and you're getting your fan base sucked into gambling, and part of your popularity is going to be tied to gambling, you've got to, people who gamble don't like it when they think things are rigged.
No.
They're not going to want to bet on it. I mean, I say that as people go play roulette and craps and things in Vegas.
You know what the house odds are, though, if
Yeah.
you are actually paying attention. You can't do anything about a sport. I mean, you have no control over it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things that, yes, they do have to make sure that they're keeping an eye on it and keeping things honest. But we can move on. We can show some more clips because we've got a few big hits. We've got a few fights, and we've got a few nice goals still to go. So,
Nick the Greek with his comment. That's
yeah, I displayed it a little bit earlier while you were talking. All right, so this one, well, is the Avs' new goalie, Wedgwood. But Timo Meier actually got 5 minutes game misconduct, and I believe a suspension for this. So we'll transition this over. Restart it. So what got him in trouble was the cross check to the face. And they'll show it again in slow motion.
Yeah.
Meier got his gloves up high. Meier came back pretty high himself, so it'll be interesting to see what transpires.
God, I hate the Devils.
For LaRue as well, so we'll see what the call on Meier's going to be here.
I mean, is there any right-thinking Rangers fan who wouldn't hate the Devils? No, we all hate the Devils.
It's kind of like Avs fans and still hating the Red Wings.
God, the Red Wings. God, with those octopuses on the
So because it's a major, it's an automatic review.
This could be dangerous for the Devils here. But I get the
could be dangerous. Maybe he shouldn't have tried to murder somebody.
Or at least take out all of his teeth.
Yeah.
Up high at Meier. Meier might have retaliated.
Timo Meier looks a little bit like Freddie Mercury.
Not as much as we
Oh
think,
God, now I can't unsee
it.
He's got the jawline and the overbite.
You see Meier comes back hard. Then Meier takes a shot.
So yeah, that clip's getting a little bit long, but we saw the cross check to the chin and the teeth. So yeah, 5-minute major and game misconduct. Then I think he got 2 games for that. So we've got.
I don't mind that. So.
No, that's about fitting. Let's see. Basco had come in earlier and said that the Anderson fight was fire. So let's play that one. At least I think this is the one he's talking about, Trouba and Anderson.
Trouba and Anderson. And Josh Anderson, I don't know where that came from. How about frustration? Anderson spinning around. Trouba trying to get some leverage. Trouba doesn't want to go down.
Trouba's having a bit of trouble with him.
He's not finished yet. I'll tell you what, Trouba wanted to
I mean, you don't see Trouba get manhandled like that too often.
chances when
Yeah.
He just didn't have it for that fight.
He didn't want to. Wow. He didn't want to. He wanted to stay on his feet.
You got to have that want to when you're fighting in hockey. Make sure that those fight straps have to do their job.
Right.
That's another thing on that jersey that
Right.
It's got the fight straps. I remember somebody was like, "What the heck are those things?" Well, if it's a real hockey jersey, you have to connect it so you can't get your jersey pulled over your head,
ripped over your head. Old school style, where they just get you trapped in your own jersey and then wail on you.
Keeley, this is the closest thing we will ever see to a bench clearing brawl between the Mets and Expos. Number one, the Islanders are the equivalent for the Mets in the New York hierarchy, not the Rangers.
So we've got a couple where the goaltender is actually getting involved a little bit. So we'll start with Merzlikins. I don't even know if that's how he pronounces the name.
I always love when the goaltenders get into it.
Oh, he gets upset.
Jesus,
He went after him. Yeah, I think that is usually an automatic game.
Those fanatics.
Goalies aren't allowed to use their equipment to fight.
Escorted to the penalty box. Now someone on the ice is going to have to serve a penalty for Elvis. There's that extra poke by Uyghur. That's what gets Elvis going. Look at him get up quickly, and he's chucking. There comes that blocker right to the body.
He's going for body blows so that it's not on the camera.
Sometimes goalies are smart. Like
sometimes
keep it off camera. I love that in hockey.
Not Lindgren.
I love that they make someone else serve the penalty for the goalies.
Right. Well, we saw last week the college coach who was like, "Nope, you're serving it. Get in there." I think we played that one, didn't we?
I think so, yeah.
And then we've got one involving Jonathan Quick.
299th career goal. One away from a very, very nice milestone. Quick stop the puck, pushing and shoving. Quick's got to get out of there. He gets up and goes after the Montreal player.
Here comes Jack Eye in the middle of it. He's now
Goalie's just getting feisty this week.
Quick got up and went after Kirby Doc, who was pushing Zibanejad. Jack Eye.
And then another starts, and then another starts.
Slavkovsky and Cooley going at it. Oh, this is really broken loose there. This coming, couldn't you?
And the funny thing is, yes, it's essentially a line brawl, but only the two guys dropped their gloves. So all the other fighting, if they had dropped their gloves, then they're out of the game. But everybody kept their gloves on so that rule doesn't come into play, which is just bypassing the rule of you can only have one fight going. I think it ended up with 3 or 4 from each team in the bench or in the penalty box.
Mike DiCarlo, I'm embarrassed to say I was in a fight with a goalie as a player when I was younger. I mean, you got to really be antagonistic to get a goalie to like drop gloves and get ready to fight with you.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Neither of these guys wanted to drop gloves. They just wanted to get in some hits. And Jonathan Quick's, I mean, he's no spring chicken at this point. He's been around forever.
God, how long ago was it he won with LA?
It's got to be 12 years or so. I mean,
that was back when
seems like forever.
That little renaissance period for the Blackhawks and Kings happened around the same time.
Yeah,
and then now they're.
Yep. Let's see. What else do we got? Here's Ilya Samsonov just handing Alex Kerfoot a goal. If you're a goaltender, tend the goal. Coming all the way out, passes it directly to Alexander Kerfoot.
I love the dive. Like, oh shit, what did I do?
Right. And Kerfoot still almost put it in on the wrong. I mean, he put it in on the wrong side of the net. He shot it across.
Well, the defender was
The defender
in.
was coming out, yeah. But
he cut off the. I mean, so I don't blame him for adjusting where he was.
no,
throwing.
neither do I. But it's funny that he still
What's
quit.
great is
the goalie almost got back. Samsonov almost got back because
But
he was
even if
forced
he
to
had-
shoot to that corner.
even if he had blocked it, he was sliding on his belly so far.
Yeah.
The rebound should have still been another. Like it should have rebounded right back for a goal. So,
Yep.
like if you hit the play, like if we watch this again, like if he slides and manages to block it, the puck he's still crashing towards the net and probably it was in a good spot.
Unless it just goes under him.
Yeah. I just love the belly sliding past the goal, like
all the way past to the other wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a goaltender, tend the goal. The other player could have easily gone and gotten that puck.
I mean, that's true in party animals. It's true in regular hockey.
It's true everywhere. Let's see. We got one last fight. We'll save that. Let's watch Cale Makar being a wizard for a few seconds.
Cale Makar carries back in. Going east
Whoop,
west.
whoop,
Sidestepping steal.
whoop.
Sent it back
Pass.
across, score!
Goal.
Rantanen. What a setup
5-hole?
from Makar.
Or did it go?
Well, Rantanen's who scored. Makar got the puck all the way across after bringing the whole team from left to right, all the way back left. He's just dancing around all of them, pulling them all that direction, and then manages to make the all the way across the ice pass to Rantanen. Buried
never
it.
mind. That wasn't 5-hole. That was up high. Gotcha.
Yeah, it was bar and down.
I see the stars in those jerseys, and I just expect them to be on the side of a road working on something.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
I mean,
that specific jersey.
I know 70s got one of those, and it was just like, oh.
Yeah, not my favorite. Not the worst, but not my favorite. This 4-on-1 rush from the Wild was pretty wild.
Now the Wild have a 4-on-1 at center. Boldy with it. Sends it across. Kaprizov, Eriksson, back to Kaprizov.
Just a great tic-tac-toe play. I don't know how you get a 4-on-1. I don't know where the hell everybody was.
Yeah, if you have a 4-on-1 and you don't score, your line should be removed.
Yeah.
Because it should be so easy to just move the puck to wherever,
But that was pretty.
You hit the tape, you keep it flat, you can do what you want. Kaprizov with the extra touch there.
Yeah, Kaprizov.
Where was he? I mean, guilty of overpassing. That was a perfect setup and delivery. I don't know where.
Yeah, that looked great to me.
Yeah.
I think we've got the one last fight, and then we'll check the fantasy standings, and that'll probably be about it for us tonight. This was a crazy fight.
I feel like that was more punches landed than the Logan Paul Tyson fight.
Definitely. And with a little bit more force from both of them.
All right, rule number 1 is you don't punch the helmet. So
I mean, you try not to. He had a few dirty punches there where he punched the back of his head too, so but that was a pretty good little scrap. I enjoyed that one. So let's transition back to our normal talking screen, and I will go find the fantasy standings. Let's see. Oh, and let's check in on the scores. Avs are still down 3-1 with 4 minutes to go, and they're already empty net. Sharks are 6-on-5, winning 4-2 at the moment with 49 seconds left. And I think everything else is final.
Yeah, it looks like the San Jose and Seattle and Edmonton versus Colorado are the only one. Oh, goal. Not goal. Never mind. I thought it refreshed, but it was just the scoreboard on ESPN being janky.
Oh, okay. All right. Fantasy standings. Let's see how everybody's doing. And I don't know if my camera is working or not because all I can see is a black screen or a black dot. So, all right. So, well, I'm still in the lead by a little bit. Currently sitting at 106.5 points. Mikey D is up there at 96 points. Coach O has pulled himself up to 81.5 points. Both of these guys had pretty big point changes today, 4.5 and 4 points. Tay dropped 4.5 points, so we know where some of those points came from. The bot is sitting in 5th. Bell has moved down a little bit to 6th. 70s is hanging all the way down in 7th. Smokey is being Smokey. He's playing dead until it's time to get to the end of the round, and then he'll come right back to life. And then Basco is down at 10th place with 56 points. And Jamie is at 44 points in 12th place. And the rest of these are bots that we don't know how they got in there. So just looking at games played, Basco, you're still sitting a little bit high compared to some of the other teams. And Brian's still a bit low, and so is Smokey. So we'll see some nice change over the next week or two, I think, as we get into the percentages being affected a little bit less. So that's where everybody's sitting for this week. Chad, what do you got coming up?
Well, Tuesday gaming with you on this channel. And then they send in art Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll let you do the promo for tomorrow since it's your flagship program.
Flagship show.
The flagship.
Yeah, we got the bullpen at 10:30 Mountain Time tomorrow morning. That's where we talk politics. It's me and little Chad. Sometimes we have guests. I have to spend the next about 30-40 minutes getting that show ready for tomorrow morning. But yeah, come check that one out. We have a good time there. We're going to be talking some more about Trump appointments because now we got Kash Patel coming in, going to clean up the FBI. What else do we got? I think Culture's going to have a show tomorrow because he didn't last week. So I might be over there Sunday night. Monday night, I'm on Comics Division's channel. Tuesday night, we got the gaming stream on mine. Wednesday, we should have a Christian panel this week. Thursday, back at Comics. And then Friday is in an art with Chad. And then back here next Saturday night. So I am going to try to redirect you guys, but it is not giving me the option. So bear with me for just a second, and we'll see if I can get that to work so that you guys can go check out Zach's doing the Circle of Jerks. It says it's going to. So, hope everybody has a great evening. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you, Eric K., for the 5 donated memberships tonight. We will catch you on any of those other streams. Have fun over at Zach's. We'll catch you later. Here's an intro as an outro.
Bye, everybody.